So if you are using microservices architecture, that's the best one to use the .NET Spire. It's really simplifying the integrations with like different databases, messaging brokers, and also the caching servers like Redis. So actually, the main idea about the .NET Spire is just exactly because when you want to build a microservice project, you will have different parts, different chunks of the project, like many different databases based on your service. It's not about these things. It's later on we will see it's lots of integration already in place. So you just can install the NuGet package and then start using the like Cosmos DB, like all of the cool stuff. So it's still young. It's just 2023. They officially announced that at .NET Conf 2023. So it's still, I mean, going on, growing, and but the release, stable release was 9. So at this time was the pre-release, preview version of the .NET Spire 8, but for the 9 was the stable one. So that's really cool time to just start using that. Okay. When we are talking about the .NET Spire, we need to just know how many technologies we can use. So for example, in front-end side, we will have many JavaScript stuff, like React, Angular, I don't know. They created many frameworks to make JavaScript easy, but nowadays it's really complicated to deal with these frameworks. On backend side, also we will have many languages, .NET, Java, PHP, database, SQL, NoSQL, DevOps, Azure, GitLab, or kind of AWS, and also mobile app, Android, Swift, and also we need to add MAUI as well here. So the reason that I put this image here is to know steps to build a software. So usually, after those people like architecture, like the people that trying to get the requirement for the project, after that, a person that doing the UI designs, it will create some page, and then the front-end guy will implement that page. And then front-end for sure needs to call a backend to get the data and then showing the data. The backend one is calling a database. I always say a backend without a database is not a backend, right? So all his backend needs to place to store the data in a state. So at the end, we're going to have one DevOps team person to deploy whatever we build. So this is the very simple steps that if you want to build a product, you will need some people to do that, or maybe one guy as a full stack. But so here we need to know if we are trying to say that .NET Spire is really make it easy to build the project, what covers. So here is the steps that .NET Spire can help you to cover all of those steps, and you can just easily integrate these steps and also for the at the end deploy your project. So you can see the way that it is helping developers is really cool. I mean, even the idea, if you are a developer and try to build a software, so always you have some blockers. For example, if your team lead tell you, okay, Saeed, go and implement, for example, Kafka. So I always have a dependency. Okay, what can I do? I need a Kafka somewhere running, then I need to publish some messages, consume those messages. So it's kind of always maybe blocking by others. But here, easily you can do anything you want. Yeah, that's the thing that I already said. So the developers, it's actually that inspire. I mean, I was watching the video, Nick Chapsos and the guy, David Fowler, which was the main contributor on that Inspire, and he was saying that exactly this point, that it is kind of shiny time for developers to start whatever they want without any restriction, at least locally. And then if you want to deploy it somewhere, then maybe you need some money for Azure or other subscription. Okay, let's a little talk about the internals. So DataSpire has three main parts to run those different services in your project. So always, when we are talking about the microservices, there should be one part to actually manage, to orchestrate all of those parts, to integrate all of those services, right? So if you have the microservices, usually maybe the gateway is kind of maybe dispatching all the requests to downstream services. But here also we have one project in Spire that is responsible for integrating all of those parts that make it easy to actually, they are communicating to each other. And we have integration. I remember at the beginning, it was called components when it was in the preview release. But after they changed it for the stable version to integrations, better name, I think. So that is the part that lots of integrations are available just for adding a NuGet package to your project. Many of them, we can see that. Like, as I said, Redis, Postgres, CusposDB, RabbitMQ, all of that. And then for tooling, for sure, it's already available on Visual Studio, VS Code, and also the .NET CLI to create and build the .NET Spire one. So AppHost is the orchestrator here, which is responsible for running all of the projects that you're adding to your microservices. So for example, here, this is a default template. When you create a .NET Spire, it will just create this template. We have one front end, one API as a backend, and then one Redis as your cache server. Front end will have a dependency to the backend one, and also using the Redis for caching something on the front end. Front end is a Blazor, that one is ASP.NET Core, that one is the. So here, front end has two dependencies for calling the API and also the Redis one. AppHost is responsible to just making sure everything is everything is prepared for the web project to be able to call the API service, to be able to connect to the Redis without any kind of, you don't need to worry about like service discovery. If you have multiple instances, you cannot tell the web front end, okay, if one create your round robin, go for the port A, and another one go for the port B. So it is using the service discovery. So if you use the microservices, service discovery always should be there, actually help you to scale out your project without worry about which endpoint I need to call. Just behind the scenes will handle everything for you. And also, all goes for the Redis and saving all the connection strings. How about the proxy? Because when we are talking about service discovery, the service discovery is nothing just a mapping between a label. You put a label to a service. For example, you put label to Redis. So everywhere in your services you want to use Redis, you just mention that label, and then that Inspire, when you try to call the Redis, it will get, okay, what was the label? This is the Redis one, and then trying to navigate the request to the correct endpoint. Also, same goes for like API, like front end. It will all wrap all your services with a proxy. So, for example, in ASP.NET Core, when you want to run your project, it will use the launch setting and to specify a specific port, right? So it will actually, that port will be the port to send a request to your proxy, not the actual endpoint. It will, every time, will specify a random port to your actual API service, and then for the proxy, it will just use that one. So every time, if you will, you can easily also in the .NET Inspire, you can easily set, okay, I want 3 instances of my backend one. And then it will create 3 instances, and then you think that, okay, I need to only call that 5006. Maybe you have 3 instances, 3 different ports, but front end always connect with the one port. So that's the proxy doing this stuff. Okay, I know, it's always, talk is cheap. So here I'm going to, from the very beginning, try to create a .NET Inspire. I already have a little real-world project, but after we talk about it, but now I'm just trying to create one Spire project just to show you.
I think mine with the resolution.
Oh. How can I
think mine with the resolution.
really?
Yeah.
So, but here also is.
Is that? Yeah, but that's what was there before.
Yeah.
No.
Do I need to?
Oh, it's only on PCLE. Yeah. I think you put duplicate.
Extend, right? I think it should be.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's duplicate it. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm trying to create .NET Inspire from the beginning. It's just really easy. Let's say .NET Chef Inspire. And here I have a temp. Okay. Yes. I will create a unit test as well and using Redis. Okay. So it will create 5 projects for me. One is the app host as our orchestrator. And one is the API service as the backend one, web, front end, One is the XUnit for our integration test, and is one the service default. Let's quickly just go through all of them, and let's see what we have here. So literally in just 14 lines, you set up all those three parts, backend, frontend, and Redis, to run by the .NET Spire. So here, first line is distributed application create builder. Usually in the way ASP.NET Core, it is web application.create builder, right? But here is a distributed one, which is created by, added by the .NET Spire. And then here by one line, we already add the Redis. Add Redis and then label it as a, because this label actually using for the service discovery. So whatever you put here, you have to use the same name in all other projects you want to use. And another one for running and telling the app host, please run my backend one as well, is just by this line. So again, the label, and then here we have the new class here, projects. Then it's just nothing. It is auto-generated one by the .NET Spire. So every time you build the project, the solution, it will create this auto-generate one. And then it is just pointing to the CS project for our API service. Just telling app host, okay, this is the CS project, go and run the project for me. Okay, and for the front end, because we have some dependencies, like front end needs to use the cache, needs to use Redis. We just say that, okay, with reference, I need to use the cache. And wait for until the Redis is not spin up, because it is using the Docker for every kind of dependencies. Until the Redis is up, then after it will run the web. And then also same goes for the backend one as well, just like that. And then we will see what it does, .NET Spire by this referencing. And then at the end, we just run the host. Here for the backend side, always all of the projects that are using or running by the app host needs to add and call these service defaults. It is actually that library project here. We will go after that. But it actually set up everything for you, like service discovery, like all of the logs, all of the OpenTelemetry stuff. Yeah, so here, nothing special, it's just weather forecast API. How about the web part? Again, same like service default. It is using the Redis output cache. Again, label the cache that we put in the app host. And look at this. For the addressing, like the backend one, it is using like this pattern, just putting the label. No localhost port, no specific port, because it is using service discovery, so it will know at runtime which port is running for this specific label. Okay, the rest is just same for Blazers. And for the service default, it is just one extension. Just calling some methods here for configure OpenTelemetry, because one of the really nice thing about the .NET Spire, it will create a nice dashboard for you, put all of the logs, create some graph, some stuff for you. So usually maybe you use Grafana, maybe you use Prometheus, or all this stuff for just monitoring your application or application inside in the Azure one. But here it will just create a dashboard in place for you. Default health check, every project that you want to run with the .NET Spire, it will add a kind of set of health check for your API or all of the stuff like Redis, like front end, to just monitoring they are up or not. Service discovery, as I said, for handling those labels, and then it is just creating some HTTP clients for actually communicating between different parts of your microservices. And then for the test, they add one class just to show you how you can run your integration test against the .NET Spire. For example, it will create the app host one, and then start the app host, and after that you can call your API. Here it is calling the web front end to writing end-to-end tests, but also you can just they are running behind the scenes by that label. You can just put the label API service and then call the one of the APIs. Cool. So it was all for the projects here. Yeah, we covered all of them. So what I'm going to do here is just running this project. It is containing more like projects here, few of the like microservices, like online shopping. It is coming from one of the open source GitHub, but all the same. For example, for the Postgres, you add your database and then adding the Redis, all goes that what I already covered. So, yay! This is the dashboard for our lovely .NET Spire. So as you can see, here, based on the resource type, we have the resources page. We have few resource types. For example, container. Everything that you are running in a Docker, like for Redis, for Postgres, it is a container. Also this one, I'm not sure what is it exactly, is for actually saving your resources for database. And then we have some project type. Whatever you have as an API or your Blazor, web front end, maybe your console application, it will list as a project here, right? So let's just call the front end, open that one. So yeah, this is the like shopping. Spire Shop is just load some of the data here, right? But as I said, it is lots of logging stuff. First of all, this is a simple console log. For example, if I open one of them, it's just like your, even as normally, you can see them in your console logs when you're running the project. But in the, also this is the structure one, you can see the detail of the log here, really interesting one. But this one is more cool. For example, this is the get for this home page. If I click on this one, you can see it is showing you all of these steps that it took to load that page. For example, here, this is, I think this one is the catalog. See this database query that it ran for getting all of those data. So you can check all of these detail in the log, then all the steps it goes for the stuff here. And also for the metrics, like front end, can see this kind of graph here, all in place. I didn't do anything. I mean, if you just create a .NET Spire, it will be in place for you. Which is, I mean, it's kind of value added for you. I mean, for me now, I think .NET Spire is the best choice for doing your POCs. If you want to prove something to your PO, to your, I don't know, CTO, that my solution is working without waiting for anything, you can just create .NET Spire, use whatever tools or services you want, and then just showing with this kind of graph or logs to prove your point. Okay, my solution is working, right? But I'm sure that during going on, it will be much more popular in the community. So by that, let's go to our, I forgot to just cover one more thing, one of the stuff. So we talked about the kind of those service discovery, and so maybe you're curious that, okay, for example, for the front end, they are using all of these services behind the scenes. If I go here, we have some environment variables. This is the default one, like ASP.NET Core environment, which should be development, right? And all the way down, yeah. So this is those dependencies that .NET Spire at runtime will inject some environment variable to just create those URLs. Like you can see, for the basket, it's using this kind of thing. Again, for the services, one is for HTTP, another one HTTPS, chat services, catalog. Yeah, I mean, there is no magic. It's just injecting some environment variable and then start using them. Okay, so let's go back to our presentation here. So far, we covered the demo, but now we need to know everything is nice, everyone is happy, but how we can deploy it. Because at the end, you want to deploy your project to present it to someone else, so it really matters. I mean, development is really easy. Still, for the deployment, they try to make it easier than development part to just deploy your .NET Spire solution. So we have two ways for just deploying your Spire. I mean, two ways, good ways. I mean, you can just build your publish locally and paste it everywhere you want. But here we talking about two options we have. One is Azure Container App. Azure Container App is just, again, a new service. Not a new, but still very recently they tried to promote it for as a part of the Azure services. So it is, I mean, always Microsoft trying to do this stuff. So we have Kubernetes, but this container app behind the scenes is using Kubernetes, but it wraps some kind of methods, some kind of packages for you to make it easy to use Kubernetes. So Microsoft is saying that it is a serverless platform that allows you to maintain less infrastructure and save costs while running your all of the Docker images into your microservices architecture, for example. But that one, save cost, is true because Kubernetes itself has lots of configuration. I'm not a Kubernetes expert, but I know that how much it is during the time, if you have a large scale application, it's tons of the configuration that you can set to make it more reliable and also more cost efficient, but really difficult. Microsoft, what they claim is, okay, we already prepare some best practices for you. Then you can just running your services, you're running your containers into the Azure Container app, and then we will take care of all of those kind of cost or security stuff. Okay. So here, if we had time, we can cover this one as well. It's really easy, but you have to just directly deploy your stuff into your Azure subscription. And another one is Kubernetes, which is also, I don't know, anyone here used Kubernetes before? Nice, okay. So yeah, Kubernetes is just a like orchestrator for your containers to manage all of them, to scale all of them in a really nice way. I mean, I heard that it is handling thousands of pods, thousands of containers, and scale all of those applications. Before working with Kubernetes, I don't know, have you heard about the Docker Swarm? Yeah. So it is really a small feature, a built-in one. You can just enable it when you install the Docker one. And then this is a really small version for having an orchestrator. You can just run if you have few images, you can run all of them, scale them. It's really cool. I use them a lot. But after, you work with the Kubernetes, then after I realized that it was nothing. It's just really great stuff here with the Kubernetes. And yeah, it gives you all the full control over your containers. So we will be using Spirate. This is an open source project that is just create some YAML file for you, and then easily you can run your services on your cluster. So what we want to do here is, I'm trying to going here in my, so as you can see, I am in the app host project. So what I'm going to do here is, this is the Spire one. Set of stuff here you can use as a command, like init, run, stop, generate. So, but here I'm going to use just two of those commands. So if I say generate for me, so it will also kind of encrypt all of your secrets. For example, if you have some connection string, if you have some API keys in your app setting, it will encrypt it and try asking me, okay, put a password to protect your secrets. Okay, confirm. If it is working. Okay, so it's asking which project you want to build. I say all of my components, and then yes. For the OLTP, all of gathering the logs. So actually, some of our resource type that we saw in the dashboard was container. So it is already, it's only need to pull those images. But for our projects, it will create a Docker image based on your project. So we know that, okay, let's see, if not present, then pull it. No, put it in default namespace, and yes. Okay. So just I want to show you here. So we know that after .NET 7, we don't need Docker file anymore. We can just publish our project and then using publish container, so it will create a Docker image for you. You don't need to deal with those, magic stuff in Docker file. So it will create all the images for me, for my front end, chat service, basket, catalog. Okay. Yeah. So if I go in my, where was my app host path? Okay. It creates one folder for me, aspired output. So for each service that I have, it will create some YAML file. For example, for basket, cache, which is the Redis, if I create, open the development, so we can see it's just a normal YAML file. Here it is the image, Redis 7.4. We know that after 7.4, Redis became commercial, so it is the last tag that is free. And we need to take care about it. Just same goes for the fluent assertion. I don't know, you have heard about that. The library that they, from the version 8, they made it commercial. Anyway, so here it's just like Redis exposing the port 6379, the default port for the Redis one. And also, yeah, we have one cluster IP as well. I wish it generates the load balancer, but here it just add the cluster IP. And same thing happened for all of the stuff. Like all of my projects are there. And it just created the YAML file. Now we want to run those YAMLs on my local cluster. So all I want to do here is just aspire rate apply. Yes, this is my pass. Manifest, yeah, cluster. I'm using Rancher. Okay, that's cool. So it created all of those things. So if I want to check by running ctl get all, so we can see these are our pods are running in our Kubernetes cluster, some services, deployments, and the replicas that are all of them are one. So we know that in the Kubernetes, all the pods are isolated, so we cannot from outside sending a request to check them. So I have to kind of do a port forward. So for example, if I go for the front end one, which was our interface, and then here our front end is listening on 8080. I can see, you can see our my command history, port forward 8080. So I just need to do that. Okay. So it is listening on the port 8080. Yeah. So all of these stuff are running under my Kubernetes cluster. And then if I just want to quickly doing one more thing for checking the dashboard one, which is running on dashboard is, yeah, 18088. So again, same way. Here, 188. Okay. And just open that one. Nice. So here also we can see the same logs that we saw when I was running in the Visual Studio. So it's same goes here as well. It's really cool. I like this kind of SQL. I love SQL. So also for the metrics, it's all available here as well. So yeah, that's it. We could run easily our Spire in the Kubernetes. So if you want to actually remove whatever you created by Spire, it is another command to destroy everything you just created. Yeah, it will delete all of them, clean your machine. So by that, let's go to our PowerPoint again. And so last slide. So we know that the Spire is really still at the beginning, I think. Lots of chance to more evolving, and community is really working on it to put more features, make it easier to work, because we know that when the project is growing, it's really complicated to maintain. But yeah, easily you can use .NET Spire and also the Kubernetes, which will be, I mean, cool for any product using Kubernetes or stuff. So yeah, by that, thank you very much for that.